fight. We don't have to kill. Everybody in the whole wide world really just needs to chill. No, we don't have to fuss, no.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just Chill with Oliver George. This is episode 110, and I am overjoyed at the guest I have sitting across from me. He's an absolute legend in the comedy world, one of my comedy heroes, I would say, making his return to the show, this time in person. But before we get into it, I do want to remind you, if you're watching this right now on YouTube and you would prefer audio only, you can get that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and other places like that. If you're listening to me on one of those, though, and you didn't realize there was a visual side to this show, I encourage you to please come over here to YouTube and check it out visually. If you do, it would really, really mean a lot to me if you could hit that subscribe button. It helps me to keep growing this channel and pursuing this dream here in my basement. So if you're just jumping in for the first time now, or you're a longtime viewer/listener, I really, really do appreciate that. If you want to reach out to me, maybe you've got a cool guest idea or some general feedback about the program, you can hit me up on social media or send me an email at justchillpodcasting@gmail.com. Now, back to the guest, the man of the hour, as I often say. Very, very extremely funny individual. His 2023 release, A Person Who Is Gingerbread, won the JUNO for Comedy Album of the Year. He's also recently launched a podcast called Brother Sister, the Podcast, with his wonderful sister, Allison, which I really encourage you to go check that out as well. But not till you're done watching this. I'm talking about Mr. Jon Dore. Thank you so much for being here, dude.
Thanks for having me. Great to be. It's easy to be here because, well, it's Ottawa, and I'm in Ottawa, my hometown, and I woke up in my old bedroom, and it was a quick ride over here.
So your folks still live where they live?
My folks live in the same house that I grew up in. And I mean, my bedroom doesn't look like it used to look.
Reconfigured things.
The day I moved out, they completely changed it. It looks like a very bland bed and breakfast kind of room that you'd get if you were traveling to a remote village in Scotland. Yeah. So,
very specific. Okay.
Yeah. Well, have you ever been to Scotland?
I have not.
A remote area of Scotland, stayed in an Airbnb?
I haven't even been to a busy area of Scotland.
Oh, okay. Well, the remote areas that I have traveled to and stayed at these Airbnbs, yes, you know, there's a lot of doilies on the tables, right?
Okay.
A lot of doilies on tables.
I thought you meant like kilts hanging on the wall.
Knickknacks. Well, I'm sure we have some Scottish references, but yeah, I don't know. Why would a kilt be on a wall?
I guess it should be on a person.
Just a framed kilt?
Maybe it was
a shadow boxed kilt?
Your deceased grandfather's kilt or something like that, you know?
Perhaps. But anyway, whatever. Yeah. The whole point is it doesn't look the same.
Yeah.
But I got here. My father drove me here. How was that?
He drove you
here
to my place?
Correct.
Okay,
to
awesome.
do this podcast.
I could have come giving you a ride.
I didn't want that.
I thought
I'm just
you were
telling you a story. Just because I say, hey, my dad drove me here doesn't mean you have to be on an errand of mercy all the time.
No.
Like, hey,
I try to be accommodating, though.
Well, you are very accommodating.
And thank you
but
so
I'm just
much.
letting you know that my dad drove me here this morning.
So did you guys reminisce?
We were 10 minutes late.
Why was that?
Right? Yeah, well, because halfway here, Dad realized that he left his hearing aids. Listen to this. So my dad left his hearing aids in a piece of, he had taken them out earlier on an errand he was running, and he folded them up into a napkin because he had forgotten the case for them, right? And he put them in the napkin, and he realized he thinks he threw the napkin in the garbage at our house.
Oh, no.
So we stopped the trip over here, and my dad said, I forgot my hearing aids. I said, where do you think you left them? And he said, what? I said, where do you think you left your hearing aids? And he said, I think they're in the garbage at home. And now my dad is a person, when he drives, he respects the rules of the road. He's never run a red light. I mean, this is a guy who just, you know, it's by the book.
Upstanding citizen.
Yeah, but you lose your hearing aids, which are expensive. He turned into Jason fucking Bourne. I'm not even kidding. It was a crazy ride back. And at one point, he did literally say, normally I'd wait for this left-hand turn, but this is real life drama.
Oh, my
then he hung
God.
a left. So yeah, that's why I was 10 minutes late.
Well, that's relatable because my mom's got hearing aids now, and I know that that's been a point of contention between my father and her sometimes.
What's the point of contention?
Just that he's very frustrated that she can't hear anything.
She can't hear, but she has hearing aids?
And, well, I'll let you feel this, Dad.
The hearing aids don't work then? What do you mean?
Not as well as you'd like them to, I think.
She's still getting used to them. I mean, they were bothering her, so she keep taking them out. So sometimes they were in, sometimes they were out. So
yeah,
it get
you got to
frustrating
stay
like that.
consistent. You have to stay consistent.
Yeah. She's getting better at that. But mostly, I mean, between frustration sometimes, but other times it's hilarious because, I'll say something innocuous and she'll say, "You want me to fry raspberries with what?" And I'll say, "No, that's not what I said."
That's not even close.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, yes, life. I mean, look, if we don't laugh at life, then we're doomed, right? Let's enjoy these moments. Fried raspberries. Nothing wrong with it. It could be delicious.
Yeah, maybe we just need to try it out and give it a shot.
Give it a try. But anyway, well, I hope things work out with the misses and the hearing aids, and I hope
I don't think our relationship's going to break down or anything.
Oh, you'll see.
How many years are you guys now? You just had a big one, didn't you?
46.
46 years together of marriage.
Wow, yeah. I mean, this is where it tends to end. This is where you start. This is where you start to feel safe, right around the 46-year mark.
Yeah.
Right, and
that's
then
when things
before
get
you
too
know,
comfortable.
You start to coast. Yeah.
it's usually a hearing aid related situation. It's definitely audio related, though. I mean, in theater, I think they would say, I've heard this before, and I don't know who I should credit with it, but they would say, if the audience can't see you, they complain. If the audience can't hear you, they want their money back. Which, speaks to the importance of audio.
Yeah.
Never heard that before.
Quite the quote, yeah.
Never heard it. So, anyway, I hope things work out with you and the missus, but it's starting to sound like there's trouble in paradise. And your text to me, Oliver, was funny because you said, is 11:30 a.m. still good?
Yeah.
Or would you rather do noon so we can have a couple of beers?
Guilt free, of course, yeah, because it's past noon.
That's what that was.
Yeah.
I thought, what's the difference between 11:30 beers versus noon beers?
Yeah, I guess people who are listening don't necessarily know what time it is, but in my heart, something about me says you got to wait till noon, right?
Well, we're telling them now.
It's noon somewhere is the classic saying.
Right. Well, that's what my mom said before I left. She said, "What are you doing putting beers in your pocket?" I said, "Well, Oliver doesn't drink till noon, and I'm going to get there before noon, prior to the whole Jason Bourne, Actually, it is before noon still. When are we starting? Is it just noon
it's
now?
right up there, 11:59.
Okay, so we're still before noon.
Yeah.
So I brought beers in case you were a stickler and had a time lock on your
No,
fridge.
I grabbed some just in case.
I thought maybe you had a time lock on the fridge and it doesn't go off till noon. So you can't even access the beer till noon.
No, yeah, nor can I access food. Yeah.
You can't? You don't eat till food? You're like a weird fast. Is that religious?
No, I have done fasting at points in my life, but it's hard to keep up, I find.
What did you fast for? Religious reasons?
No, just, willpower, I would say, was part of it, but also just trying to get in the best shape I could,
Okay. And fasting helps that, does it?
It did. I found, intermittent fasting seemed to have some effect.
Intermittent fasting. Now, I've heard of this. Walk us through it.
Well, permanent fasting would not work out well.
Well, intermittent versus intermittent isn't the opposite of permanent.
True, yeah.
But I mean, intermittent fasting would be what? How would you explain it?
When I was really, really sticking to it, I was doing. I think the longest one I did was like 30 hours.
Are you Muslim?
No,
you're not. So this isn't Ramadan related.
not even.
Okay.
No. It was just again trying to see if I could do it, and also trying to shed a couple pounds. At the time, just trying to get in the best shape I could.
So
be.
what happens when you fast? You don't eat for what length of time?
They say you're supposed to do 16 hours.
I don't care
it's
about
sort of the
they.
minimum.
What do you do?
Those are the guidelines I found originally.
Okay.
But yeah, I would do whatever I could pull off. Sometimes I would find that once I hit 24 hours,
You would fast for 24. So you didn't eat anything for 24 hours?
No, just water, black coffee.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And this did what? You lost weight over time?
Like a healthy amount, yeah. If I wanted to shed 5 pounds, if I had been overindulging the week prior, it was sort of like a shortcut, like a hack to.
Okay. Wow. So you would fast for 24 hours, you could shed 5?
Well, no. If I was doing it maybe a few times that week, I would get the results I was looking for. But again, it was also for willpower, just abstaining from drinking as well, and just sort of seeing, hey, can I just not think about that aspect of my life?
Okay. And
if I felt faint or something, I would.
You would eat.
Yeah. If it ever got to that point, I wasn't.
This wasn't a hunger strike protest.
No.
You're not. Okay.
You've never done a fast?
24 hours. No, I mean not deliberately.
Not intentionally.
I mean,
okay.
I've been there's been times where I haven't eaten a lot, but that has nothing to do. I mean, probably just not access to food.
Yeah.
I've been on a long car ride where I'm like, where's the next place to pull over to get food? That's the longest I've fasted. It's probably between Ottawa and Pembroke.
And then you find an en route.
That's my longest fast.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you could try it one time.
No, I'm good. No.
Well, like my dad said, you're looking very svelte these days,
It
and
was a really nice comment to walk in. to hear you came to the stand-up show Friday
I was going
night.
to say, thank you so much. You put us on the guest list on
Yes,
Friday.
no
We had
worries.
great seats, killer show all around.
Oh, this is very sweet.
Can we also give massive kudos to David Haddad and Christina Mielberger?
Yes, of
Both
course.
past guests of this show, friends of the show.
Yeah.
But, everyone just killed it that night.
Yeah, David hysterical, Christina Christina's hysterical as well.
Yeah.
I didn't know Christina prior to the show.
Oh, no.
I didn't know David that well either, but Christina's absolutely hysterical. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's someone who does comedy here and there. We've talked to her about that. She has
Yeah, I
no
know.
intention to, even though she could totally take it all the way.
She is beyond. She is the type where if an agent from Hollywood saw her at like a New Faces at Just for Laughs, they would immediately grab her because she doesn't have any inhibitions that a lot of comedians have.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she knows that. The second she walks on stage, the audience is comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing for a lot of people to figure out, but she just has it naturally. She walks on stage, everyone feels safe.
Yeah.
So that's a whole part of the stand-up comedy problem that's already not even in her head.
Well, she's multifaceted. She'll do improv a lot, and I think she's done straight theater. She does Fringe Fest. She did a show with her husband, I think, last summer, and I think she's done one-woman shows.
She mentioned that. Yeah, yeah.
My dad's a huge fan of hers as well. When
Yeah,
we had our
she's
100th
great.
episode, we did live at Yuck Yucks with Derek Seguin was the main headliner.
nice. Yeah.
But Christina was one of the guests that came up first.
Oh, nice.
She has no fear.
Yeah, no fear, which is great. Like confidence, no fear, audience relaxes. Yeah, so right away, any of those concerns, because that's almost half the battle.
Well, but David, I mean, he's up first, so he's got that bullet sort of situation.
David's hysterical. He's the best.
Yeah, well, he was another person that I found a second he went up, I felt like the audience was very comfortable and very on his side almost immediately, you know?
Yeah. I only speak of Christina because I knew very little about her.
Anyways, great show.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. And yeah, I walked on stage, and today I found out that when I did walk on stage, your father turned to you and said, "That's a handsome man."
Yeah, he said he's a good-looking guy.
Good-looking guy, yeah.
That was the verbatim.
And I'll take it. I will take it, Brian.
Well, also, I don't know that I've been to quite a few comedy shows with my dad.
Yeah.
A lot of time we'll go see a guest after they do the pod or before or whatever. And I'd never seen him laugh that hard. Knee slapping, turning to me, kind of
this is
nudging.
great. I'll
he
take
loved
it.
all the callbacks. I'm not just trying to butter your biscuit here either. I have not
Butter
seen
my biscuit. Now, who said that in your family that you now say it? Was that mom?
No, I think that's from Pete Holmes says it a lot on his podcast.
Oh, is that
so
right?
I've sort of just
You just
adopted that.
Butter my biscuit.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for slapping your knees and having a good time. That's high praise, and I'll take it because, that was like just a warm weekend of shows. It was fun.
I was saying the only other comic that came close maybe was Mike Rita. I've seen my dad really, really loved that set as well.
Good. Well, great. Excellent.
You're familiar with Mike, yeah?
I think so.
Mike Rita. Okay.
I think I met Mike maybe in, if I'm thinking of the same person, in Halifax. Does he do a lot of cruises?
I don't know about that. He's
Okay, I don't
one of Canada's top stoner comics. That's
Oh, no.
part of his.
I don't know if I know Mike then.
Oh, man.
No.
Crowd work
Because
is-
who I'm thinking of is not a stoner comic. But yeah.
He's Portuguese too is a big part. He's one of the Portuguese kids. They're a sketch comedy troupe. They just
No.
Okay, well, look him up then.
Unfamiliar.
Very, very.
Don't
very
tell me what to do. I'll look him up if I want to, but this whole look him up thing.
Well, let's talk about this show though, because one thing that I found very, very, very cool about that
Yeah.
was that your babysitter happened to be in the front row, Anne Marie.
Yeah.
You didn't seem to remember her though. I guess in your defense, you were young.
I definitely know Anne Marie was my babysitter. Like I knew the name when I was younger. Yeah, but no, I didn't recognize her.
Well, she's aged, I'm sure, right?
Well, I have no recollection. Anyway, like I know I had a babysitter named Anne Marie. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Jello Jigglers.
And I only would have known about that. I only would have known the name Anne Marie because my mom would have repeated it. She would have said, "Oh, when Anne Marie used to," that's how I would remember the name, but I don't remember. Yeah.
She did bring up Jello Jigglers, which is something I had to Google. I was not.
I don't even know if it's a thing. So we had, anyway, whatever. This is now getting quite.
Do you know what they are though?
Esoteric. The well,
Jello
I know what
Jigglers.
finger jello is. So finger jello is just jello with a little more gelatin, so that you pick it up with your hands and eat it. That's what if she's calling them Jello Jigglers, I have no idea what that reference is, but she was talking about finger jello.
When I Googled it, it was people making Jello, thin Jello, and then cutting it out with little cookie cutters. So like little
you can
Jello
do that.
shapes.
Yeah. Well, that's the same thing. Yeah.
Same
Yeah,
difference.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, finger jello. Yeah.
I did notice while you were here in Ottawa, you saw a band named Chastity that you wanted to give a big shout out to at the Dominion Tavern.
Yeah, well, I saw them in New Brunswick the week. I didn't see them perform, but I met them. They came to a show in Heartland, New Brunswick.
Okay.
And so just a great group of, people. So it was fun to chat
Sounds
with
like
them
a Christian
afterwards.
rock band or something with that name, Chastity.
Well,
Anyway, I wanted to ask you, the Dom made me spark this question. What was, when you were younger and then at the present time now, what were your favorite watering holes in Ottawa?
Well, I mean, it was basically whatever's open after I finished my shift. I worked downtown in restaurants. So I worked in the Byward Market I worked at La Folie, which became the Blackthorn Cafe.
Okay.
15 Clarence.
Yeah.
And then
I worked at Heart and Crown.
There you go.
First job ever.
So I worked at Empire Grill as well.
Okay.
So when it was this huge, for people who don't know, this is center of the Byward Market, very busy summertime in Ottawa. So I was working double shifts on that patio. Anyway, great job. 20 years old, making cash, lots of it at the end of the day. It was great. But the goal was always to race to whatever place was open to just pound beer. So yeah, we would go to either, it was, the Dom was one for sure. We just sit out on that back patio when you can smoke out there. Used to be able to smoke out there. So it was like grab as many quarts of beer at, 1:30 a.m. before last call and sit out there. But yeah, watering holes, not really. Lieutenant's Pump when I lived on Elgin Street was the big one. I think I probably went there every day for 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. At one point in my life. Yeah.
I love the Lafayette.
Yeah.
It's one of the real.
It's
sort
an
of
institution.
ancient-
Yeah. I didn't
very
spend a lot
small.
of time there, but yeah, it's worth a laugh every time you go.
They have
to
music
Ottawa.
there as well sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very, very
Lucky
intimate
Ron.
environment.
We can't both take a sip of beer at the same time.
I know,
Then
I
it's
just
radio
realized that.
silence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I started my drink before you did.
It was
So-
a slurping moment. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the laugh was good because you'd get some Lucky Ron, which was always foot stomping fun.
What's Lucky Ron?
What?
You're gonna have to help me.
Are you from Ottawa?
If you're talking about the old man who used to point at people in the mall and stomp his foot, is that what you're talking about?
Are you from Ottawa?
I am. I'm born.
Where
and
did
raised.
you grow up?
I grew up in Beacon Hill.
And would you go to where were your watering holes?
I would go downtown once I got to 16, 17. That's
Okay.
I'm not sure where I went the
Maybe
most.
it's a generational thing. Lucky Ron, yeah, he'd perform at the Laugh on Sundays. He'd perform at Irene's Pub. He'd perform
I don't know.
everywhere.
I've never heard of him.
A lot of Stompin' Tom covers and really foot stomp
Folksy
and fun.
kind of.
Yeah, fun. He's a cowboy.
Is he still around or no?
You know what? I mean, it's been a while since I've been here, but I don't know if I've heard any news of his demise.
How old was he when you used to see him? Like, was he already?
Probably 15, 20 years older than me at the time. So, yeah,
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
he's still out there
Possibly. I
delighting
don't know.
audiences.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, well, you actually sparked a weird memory in me when you said Lucky Ron and then you said stomping right after. There was an older gentleman that I don't think was right in the head that my generation, everyone knew him. He was always at the malls and he would aggressively, very judgmentally point at teenagers and stomp his foot and kind of just. So I don't know really where I'm going with that.
Right.
I'm assuming you've never seen this gentleman.
It doesn't ring a bell, but
If any Ottawa listeners out there remember this guy.
an angry man in a mall who points and stomps.
It was scary at the right
I kind of
age.
like him. I kind of like him. I get it.
Yeah,
I get
it was traumatizing if you were young enough.
That's what you want to do, but you don't do. And this gentleman has just said, I'm doing it
went
anyway.
for it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk fatherhood
Okay.
because this episode I'm hoping to have up on Father's Day. That's why I grabbed these beers for us. Party Dad,
Yeah.
only a 3.5 IPA, so I don't know that I've ever seen that before. But you've been a stepfather for quite some time now,
Yeah.
but you are now also a biological father.
Correct.
And so I wanted to start with how old were you? First of all, congratulations.
Hey, thanks so much.
Your son Jackson.
Yeah.
Seems like a beautiful, healthy boy.
He's very beautiful. My genes were definitely more dominant. He's like your dad would say. He's a good looking guy.
Yeah. Good looking guy. Let's see him when he grows up. Maybe he's going to be the spitting image
He's
of you.
going to be gorgeous. Yeah.
Well, so how many years of stepfathering did you have under your belt with your stepdaughter Emma before he came along?
I met Emma 5.5 years ago, and Jackson is just over 2. So yeah,
So she was young then when you first came into her life.
Yeah, she was 4.5. She's 10 now. So yeah, 5.5. Yeah, she was 4.5 when I first met her, and then over time, you get to know her a little better. And then I eventually moved to Alaska when we realized, okay, this is a good thing. So I was living in Los Angeles when I met Christina, and then we slowly introduced me to her daughter, Emma. And yeah, so I've knew her for about 5.5 years. I've known her for 5.5 years.
Well, shout out to all the step parents. Because
Yeah,
I
shout
feel like-
out.
I mean, my wife, you just upstairs, she's stepmother to my oldest two.
She's the
who are
best.
Teenagers now.
She's the best.
She's awesome. She makes really good muffins if you want one on the way out.
No, I don't. I don't want to eat her
You're
food.
not fasting.
I don't want her food.
Okay.
I saw your wife on the way in, and I didn't like the way she was cutting watermelon.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want her food. I've
What's the
seen how she
proper one?
operates in there. I don't want to get into it. I just didn't like it. It looked unsanitary.
I'll make sure she knows that.
You do what you want with that information. I don't care. I'm just telling you. I don't want her muffins.
Okay.
What kind are they? What kind are they?
The first one she made, their lemon blueberry, I think.
Gross.
With
Lemon and blueberry.
Oh,
I'd
great
look it.
sugar nuggets all over the top.
Yeah, I know exactly what. Look, I've had a lemon blueberry muffin before. I've had a lemon blueberry scone. I've ventured down that road before. I'm not doing it. But it has nothing. Yeah, I'm just not a fan.
She made apple ones this morning.
apple muffins.
Yeah, they're really good.
Okay.
Some flaxseed on top, help keep you regular.
Okay. And what else? What are there any others?
No, that's the selection for today, my friend.
Today's selection are those two: blueberry lemon with sugar.
This is not a muffin shop.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
no, not interested in those based on the description and based on how I saw the unsanitary practices in your kitchen. Yeah, you also have 2 dogs and a cat in the house.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, I don't like food prep in a house where there's pets.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I eat a fair amount of hair.
Yeah, so I'm thank you for the offer in a way, but not interested.
Hey, that's totally fine.
I know.
Not offended in the slightest.
I know. Well, if you were, there's nothing I can do about it.
Okay, we'll get back to parenting because I do have a question for you. I
Well,
want to
ask
know.
me now then. You're asking me what question now? We're already on the topic of parenting.
I want to know when your son was born, and now
Yeah.
you've had a couple of years rearing him.
Mm-hmm.
What is the biggest thing that you were anxious about going into prior to his birth that turned out to be not that big of a deal? And flip side to that, what was something that wasn't even on your radar that was just brutal?
I don't even know if I could access because it's such a blur. You
is,
don't
yeah.
even, I mean, there's so many things you try and prepare for, and none of those things matter. And then there's things you should have prepared for that you didn't. So we were kind of on the fence about circumcision, just in that we didn't really, the question's going to be asked.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was eventually a no-brainer. We were pretty sure we weren't going to circumcise. And then, yeah.
And then you did?
No, we did not.
We did. I did
but,
not.
But,
for my
it's still a
son's
question you're asked. Anyway, whatever research we did suggested that it was not a good idea. And
I was in a similar situation, whereas I am circumcised. Maybe too much information here, but with my sons,
all right.
the times have kind of changed.
I'm talking about my child's dick, which is
yeah, I'm not asking
probably
you to
not
divulge
okay.
your own, but
Yeah, and I know what you're doing. You want to see a picture of my son's penis. You're not going to see it. No, I know where this is going. This is how it starts. Is what
Definitely not what I'm
parenting
fishing for here.
questions, very general parenting questions that are designed to guide me down the road of circumcision. Then you're gonna be like, just casually, hey, can I see a picture? And that's not going to happen, Oliver. I'm telling you right now.
That's more than okay with me.
Okay.
I do think it's a thing though when you go into that decision. At least if the male perspective is usually like, well, they should have whatever I've got going on. At least that's how I felt at the time.
Yeah, that's probably, but that's a very strange way of looking at it.
And I went
Yeah.
against it in the end. In the end, I went sort of the same way that I stand with religion, which is like, should be their choice. That's their body, much as like spirituality is very personal. I feel like if my kid wants to be any religion, totally fine. I just want them to find that on their own.
What do you mean totally fine?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I would not have an issue with them.
You don't have an issue with any religion.
Maybe a cult. That would not be good.
Okay. So what's the difference between a cult and a religion?
True. Well, yeah.
No, I'm asking
Touche.
you. I don't know.
A cult-
I'm not a smart person.
I mean, a cult seems a little more sinister, but I suppose
But
you
they seem
definitely
a little
have
more
point.
fun, though.
Cults,
Don't you think?
up to a point. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They're kind of
They
like
drink Kool-Aid.
Yeah. They've got the
Kool-Aid's delicious.
multiple flavors. They all have poison,
And
unfortunately.
was it Kool-Aid? I mean, does Kool-Aid get mad that we keep referencing Kool-Aid?
Jonestown was not Kool-Aid's.
I know. What
I
was
looked
it?
up. It was something else, some knockoff of Kool-Aid or something similar to that.
Right. So the name Kool, and I know drink the Kool-Aid has
I know,
become,
Kool-Aid's
maybe they
great.
love it though, because every time someone says drink the Kool-Aid to suggest that you've, bought into this way of thinking, it does brand, remind people of this beautiful summer drink, this sugary summer drink.
And can you imagine if after they drank the Kool-Aid, they're all slowly passing away on the floor? If only the Kool-Aid man had burst through the wall
And what?
Could have rescued them, you know.
How's the Kool-Aid Man going to rescue
Thought you were
people
gonna
dying?
Roll with that. Oh,
But
I don't know. He's a big, strong individual. He could get them to safety.
He's
Maybe.
gonna pump all their stomachs.
You give them some real Kool-Aid, rehydrate them, maybe.
I feel like we're trespassing on some very sensitive topic here because this is, I mean, Jonestown. A lot of people died all.
It's gonna make me the asshole here.
Not at all.
Oh.
You're the one who wanted to see
You're the master
my
at this.
kid's penis. But listen,
Fuck.
so you were saying though, yeah. So religion, you feel like circumcising your son is a decision for your son to make, much like religion is what you're saying. So
I just felt like, I didn't have the grounds to really.
if one day he decides to circumcise himself, that's okay with you.
Of course.
Okay.
I actually, although I should say that I had a friend who.
Let's be honest. It's either when you're a baby or it's never going to happen.
Well, this is the thing. I had a friend who had to get one when he was about 21.
Fuck. See, these are the stories that are
He
awful.
kept getting yeast infections from his
God.
girlfriend that they would pass back and forth to each other. But it was more that it became too tight and it was sort of strangling his penis, I believe. And it was extremely uncomfortable. And he said the surgery was very painful.
Of course it is.
That's called phimosis.
Is
if
it?
you had-
What, when it gets too tight? How do you know that?
There were kids, yeah. Well, so this is the terrifying thing is in that tiny little percentage of situations where there is a problem. Can you imagine a kid? No, I can't.
No.
It would be the worst.
And the kids are going to say, if that happens to them when they grow up, they're going to say, why didn't you circumcise me when I was a baby and I wouldn't have remembered it?
It'll go back and forth, but it won't be big enough. I can't. Excuse me. I want to apologize to all the listeners and viewers right now. That was not okay. That was not okay.
It's a
It
dad
was
move.
disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting. But you know what? It's my choice.
Yeah.
I'm an adult. I can burp if I want. I
vent
can
that gas
circumcise
if you
my
need
penis
to.
if I want. I can choose my cult or religion.
Yeah.
How old's your son now?
My oldest is 15. My youngest is 7.
So, sorry. I meant, I know. So your youngest is 7 now.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Just
Fun.
turned 7. Yeah. Good, fun age.
7's good.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, he's such an individual, such a character at this point, but he also hasn't. I'm seeing a lot of what hormones can do with my teenage children right now. You know, I've got 13 and 15 and
Yeah, you're screwed.
different ball game for sure.
Yeah,
Get
definitely.
ready, my friend. Because Emma's 10 or something
Oh,
now?
yeah. Emma's already there. Like we're seeing it all. But yeah.
You haven't
But
seen anything yet.
she's
Just wait.
Oh, I know. But she's great. She is so certain. This is going to be a short podcast today.
Okay.
I can tell you.
Why is that? Or do you have a heart out?
No.
No.
I can feel the cats and the dogs. This is crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
my eyes
God.
are starting to get puffy.
Oh, God damn. I don't see
I
any.
don't worry about the eyes and how I look. I'm talking about my bronchial tubes will eventually start to tighten. So, anyway,
Okay.
just giving you that heads
No,
up right
of
now.
course. I should have.
I came in.
I always forget to tell people.
I came in and I have I'm allergic to cats and it's not good. And I came in the door and I saw the dogs. And then sometimes you're like, okay, dogs aren't good either. But like you see dogs, you're like, oh, how crazy are these pet people? Like, are they having cats and dogs mingling together? Well, I guess you would, right? Because cats are the female dog. No, they're totally different species. Anyway, so and sure enough, there was a cat upstairs.
Like I said, he never comes in the basement ever. I don't let him down here.
Yeah,
so
but look at that roof right there. What's there? That's a vent.
yeah, that's true. Well, you know what? You tell me if you're finding
I'll
those
keep you
bronchials getting
posted.
tight.
I'll keep you posted. I'm
and
just
I
letting
do
you know.
apologize. I should have.
You don't have to apologize. I'm just letting you know.
I should have let you know. Slip
should
my
have a-
mind.
we should
Look
have
at all
a-
these notes I was writing.
We should have. Well, let's get through them.
All right, let's get through 'em. Okay. Last time I saw you. Oh no, I guess I passed over that. I was just gonna say the last time I saw you, your partner was expecting, and this was on the rooftop where Yuck Yucks was temporarily. And you, I don't know if it's part of your act, but you did not seem confident. You seemed very weary. And,
I know what you're
full
talking
of trepidation about
The old Yuck Yucks Club.
your son coming along.
So Christina was pregnant. Yes. And, oh no, I did not want to have a child.
Yeah, you seemed terrified at the time, but of course, you seem to be a great dad.
I was definitely terrified. Well, yeah. I mean, these things change, but I'm also hyperbolic on stage as a stand-up comedian. So there's a bit of an exaggeration. But of course, I didn't want to have a child. It was the worst thing that could have happened to me.
But it seems like a lot of that is washed away since he's.
No, I
come
couldn't
into
be
the world.
happier.
Okay.
Yeah. But I did not want to have a child, and it was the worst thing that could ever happen to me. Yeah.
So, do you have any advice for expectant fathers?
No. God, no. I know nothing.
All right, that's easy for that one.
Prepare. Do the best you can. It's not going to go the way you want, but no. There's no father out there that's not going to, do their their research anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't?
You got to read the baby books.
Yeah, you got to. I took
Or at least peruse them.
Took a few Zoom classes, and you go online and read as much as you can about certain things. But there's nothing really that's gonna, they're gonna hit their milestones when they hit their milestones. Yeah, you just figure it out. Like
It's trial by fire, yeah.
changing a diaper. It's like I'd never done that before. I know nothing about it. I know it's a tiny detail, but yeah, the first time you change a diaper and you kind of got to pretend like you know what you're doing. It's easy to figure out.
It's not that bad, yeah.
Yeah, but you're not going to turn to your wife who's in, still in the hospital bed recovering from abdominal surgery from a C-section. You're not going to turn to her and go, hey, can you help me with this? No, you have to figure this out. So, and you just figure things out over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be honest,
That's very true.
without Christina, like she's the guide for everything because she had a child before Emma. And so I watch her and how she behaves and how she reacts. And so I learn a lot from her.
That's beautiful. I guess
Is
I always
it?
expect your answers to be hilarious, but that was just so heartfelt and straight to the
it
point.
was heartfelt, wasn't it?
I loved it.
Yeah, I'm a really great guy.
Happy Father's Day, everyone. What's the most annoying kids show? This was a question that Kelly wanted to ask.
Yeah, I don't well, okay. So Jackson, Emma's kind of off in her own grown-up world now. She watches, she likes movies, so that's great,
Nice.
And Jackson's so young still, so he likes anything with a car. And so Trash Truck is his favorite, right?
Trash Truck.
You Trash Truck?
I don't know that I'm familiar with that one.
It's a great one. It's beautiful. It's just a kid who's friends with a trash truck and a bear and a raccoon. And they
I do know
they go on
this.
little
I do know
adventures.
this.
Yeah, it's very sweet. It's actually a very beautiful show. I reached out to the producers because I'm like, where's season 3? Anyway, it's canceled. Netflix didn't bring it back, but it's a great one. I think that, I hate like Blippi, stuff like that. I don't like at all.
Yeah, his voice is just grating.
And Jackson, luckily, he saw it and just like, no. So
What a putz, yeah.
So I don't know if I have an annoying one because they're all whatever. But,
Weirdest thing about Blippi is he started to get like other guys to also be Blippi, as if it's like sort of like this interchangeable role that anyone can be. It's
Sure.
It's got to be strange for the child who's used to seeing this guy as Blippi, and all of a sudden,
I don't know. You
it's
got
a
to
new Blippi.
franchise out. You
Yeah,
know,
I
I
guess.
mean, you got to,
Seems very like something Krusty the Clown would do.
There's
you know?
only one Applebee's in Ottawa, and people got to fly in from all over the world to go to Applebee's. No, you create more Applebee's. It only makes sense.
though. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's a costume.
Yeah, I suppose
There isn't one
it's-
Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, fair point.
Maybe there is.
The true OG Ronald.
Maybe there is. Yeah,
There's got to be an originator. Yeah.
no idea. But anyway, annoying shows. There's tons of them. I have no idea. Blippi. I'll say Blippi. That's my
Blippi,
answer.
that's a great one. Have you ever, or do you ever eat the baby food in the little bottles?
No
Never
baby
tried?
food.
Yeah, the fruit ones are pretty good.
No, he doesn't really eat that. He just eats.
Is that not a thing anymore? Do people still?
Well, the only thing we really give him that are super easy for us and that he loves are like applesauce pouches, which are like environmentally the worst, but they're just so easy.
Yeah, with the little plastic thing on the
Yeah,
top.
yeah. So like I always have like the lids to applesauce pouches in my in my jacket pockets. No, he's just kind of adult food. He eats just like
T-bone steak.
oh wow, it's coming.
Yeah.
But he'll do like halibut, fish, and chips, and just cut up a bunch of fruit for him. He'll eat strawberries, blueberries, apples. He loves. He's
He's not a picky eater.
No, not at all.
That's a blessing.
If he knows what he wants and you don't give him that, then he's upset. But for the most part, he'll eat anything. He sits down at whatever you're eating, he'll eat.
My youngest, his thing, it's getting better now, but his whole life, everything was too spicy. If I put just regular black pepper on something,
That's like Emma.
said too spicy.
Emma's like that. Yeah.
I can't believe I love spicy food. So for me, I just can't even wrap my head around that. But
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I love it too. Well, I feel like Jackson would eat anything. Yeah.
You think so?
I've worried that I've given him
ghost pepper.
I've had jalapenos on a pizza and kind of forgotten, but he's never had an issue with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to talk to you about your album,
Okay.
the JUNO award-winning album.
Sure,
A
bombs
Person
away.
Who Is Gingerbread. Just some things that I picked up. You recorded it in the U.S.? I was curious where, because
Yeah,
there were some things you said that made it obvious you were talking about immigrating from Canada.
I recorded it in Madison, Wisconsin, at a place called Comedy on State.
Okay. Glad I asked, because Kelly thought it would have been in Alaska.
No, I don't perform in Alaska that much. Yeah.
Okay. And you also mentioned having a seizure and breaking your neck at some point in L.A. I just
Yes.
wondering if you could expand upon that a little bit. That sounds pretty crazy. You're on morphine and in the hospital for 4 days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you're fine now, though? No lasting repercussions from that?
Possible it could have another seizure. Well, my back still hurts as a result.
Which
but,
part of your back was affected by that?
Center back.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just something that has never gone away. Because when you have a seizure, for those who don't know, it's like weird electrical activity. Your brain just turns off and then you hit the ground. And I'm sure most people know that. But so I've gone my entire life without having a seizure, and then
Did they figure out why it struck you all of a sudden?
Yeah, so I tests. You go in for these EEGs over and over again, and they eventually are able to, either notice something or not, and they were able to discover that I had what they called sharp waves on the left side of my brain. So sharp waves, I mean, it's really just named after what happens on the wave when they are observing you in your brain activity. So they said that puts me in a category of people that have a 70% higher chance of a seizure reoccurring. So,
well, why had it not happened your whole life up until that point?
Every one of us could have a seizure. You could have a seizure.
But they didn't identify a trigger other than this sharp wave stuff.
They did.
I don't know. I did quotations. The doctor told you this.
Well, they didn't. I mean, who knows? There could have been a trigger, but I mean, the brain is weird. They don't know a lot about it. They don't.
Well, I'm just getting older, and I'm wondering. Often, I don't get enough sleep. I don't always live the healthiest lifestyle. So.
Well, okay. So if you are in the category of people that are higher risk for a seizure, then you should, take care of yourself and sleep. Absolutely. It doesn't mean you're ever going to have a seizure, though. It doesn't. I could go the rest of my life. I'm on medication now. I take Keppra, which is an anti-seizure medication.
Like an epileptic sort of medication? Or?
It's an anti-seizure medication. So, epileptics would take it. Anyway, so so I'll just take that the rest of my life, and that also doesn't mean I'm not going to have a seizure, but it helps, but it's not a guarantee. Nothing's a guarantee.
It must have been a scary experience, though.
I could go the rest of my life without taking medication and also not have a seizure. But anyway, these are the things put in place. It's just, it's hard to figure out. No one really knows.
Well, it's to break your back as part of that also.
I didn't break my back. My back hurts. Had no. So I fractured a bone in my neck, because when you have a seizure, the scariest part is you don't know when it's going to happen, and then it does happen, and then you just drop to the ground. I mean, you're not awake. You don't know you've had it. Your brain is.
You don't have any memory of that experience.
None at all.
Okay.
I have none leading up to it, and not for 45 minutes later, probably.
Wow.
Where I woke up in the hospital. Your brain is slowly coming to. You have literally turned off, and now you're coming back to life. So not to life. Your heart doesn't stop, but your brain is just not working. So I hit the ground. I fell, and I guess when I cracked my head off the ground, I fractured a bone in my neck. Oh, man. So you're sitting in the hospital, and they've run a bunch of, tests, and sure enough, because they have to rule things out, like, is there a brain tumor? Of course. It could be a variety of things. Now, I was taking some prescription drugs I should not have been taking, but that has been going on for years, and that could be the problem. Sometimes you go off of those things, and they can induce these things, but I don't know if that's the case, because months later, I had a second seizure. Same thing, just hanging out in my house, not up to anything, on the phone with my manager at the time. And I hit the ground, and he could sense something was wrong. So he called the ambulance.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, very, very weird.
Well, I hope you never have another one. Let me just say that.
Oh, that's nice of you to say.
Well, I mean,
just
I hope that for all my loved ones.
I hope you have one more. I hope you have just one more gentle seizure.
If it teaches you a lesson, yeah.
But yeah, you wake up in the hospital, and then they tell you what's happened, and then, a million people come in and fit you for neck braces, and they make sure you're all right, and then you eventually leave a few days later. And it's like a $130,000 hospital bill. But I had insurance, so I got lucky.
Thank the Lord. Wow.
Yeah, imagine those who don't, though. It's shite.
Jeez. Okay, well, I'm glad you're in better health now, and that doesn't seem to be something that's coming back anytime soon, hopefully.
It doesn't come back unless people ask me about it.
Okay, all right, I'll move on.
God.
You also talked in the album about how your partner, Christina, is very superstitious. Mm-hmm. And I wondered, have you ever had a supernatural experience of any kind? Something that you...
Have I?
Yeah.
No,
I didn't think so. Maybe because
you supernatural.
You didn't sound like you were a believer, in ghosts and stuff.
I was
like
once tricked.
Okay.
On the set of a television show, and for a little bit, I was my mind was almost flipped upside down. I'm like, this can't be. There's no way. This changes the way I look at the world. Only to find out it was a prank being pulled on me.
What was the prank?
It's too long to get into, but
Okay.
basically anyway, friends on the set of the Jon Dore show, pulled this prank and everyone was in on it. And I was like, there's no way. And then watched the video back and it looked legit. And I'm like, what is happening? And everyone else on set we're interviewing, they say, yeah, our house is haunted. This stuff happens all the time. Anyway, so it took me, I was up for about 18 hours going, what is going on? I'm researching, prank wine glasses because that was part of the trick.
Wow.
And then eventually I call our art director, Nancy Nixick, and I said, listen, did you help Adam and Dave with anything? Because I'm going out of my mind here. Adam and Dave were the directors. And she confessed. She goes, yes, they asked me to get this, and it's microfilament to move the wine glass. I'm like, those mother. So I called them right away. But it was a genuine relief because I'm like, my mind is spinning. I'm like, this can't be. Like, there's no way. This changes the way I look at the world. It cannot be this way. So through further investigation, it was revealed that,
Which probably just made your non-belief in this stuff even more concrete once you had a reveal.
Oh, it's not like I spent any time thinking about it beyond just, I knew it. But yeah.
Okay, fair.
Why do you ask?
I was just curious because if you're in a relationship with someone that sounds like is very superstitious and believes in demons and stuff like that,
it's
that
fun,
could be something you guys
but it's fun.
maybe argue about at times.
I mean, if I push it too far, but no, it's really fun.
You try to spook her.
Well, she scares me all the time.
You got your own microfilament now. And
Oh no, I don't go that far because I would, I just don't have the time. But no, she hides and scares me all the time. Like, she loves it.
I do the same to my wife in the grocery store because she has a shriek like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, I love it.
It sounds like a horror movie straight out. And then
that's
she
good.
feels all embarrassed because everyone's looking at her.
Yeah.
It'll never get old.
I love it. But Christina, she'll be the one doing the scaring. But no, I just mostly because we're raising children, right? And so, Emma will have questions and I'll just be like, oh, it's probably a ghost. That's not funny. I'm like, well, it is because they're not real and don't worry about it. It's like, don't worry, ghosts aren't real. Just relax. That's my goal as dad is like, you have nothing to fear.
That's good.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna save them some scaredy pants moments in the future.
I think so. Christina's, whatever. She is more of a, there are energies and spirits and stuff, and she wants to kind of do what she can to keep those at, and it's very ceremonial, right? Because she's, indigenous Native Alaskan woman from, a tiny village, and there's culturally speaking, a lot of belief in, where they go and where these spirits come from,
Yeah, I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't know that I would be, I'm not always talking about that kind of thing, but I'm open-minded. I don't know everything about the universe. I can believe that there's some weird stuff like that we haven't wrapped our heads around yet.
Totally. I know nothing. I do.
Well, then we can agree on that. We both don't know anything.
Yes, we can totally agree on that.
I want to pivot to the podcast here. You're doing with your sister.
To the podcast. Right? Do you have a jingle for that?
You need a turntable scratching.
Oh,
there.
to my podcast.
Yeah, your podcast. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I've been listening. I think I'm on episode 7.
Now I'm all ears. It's about me? Okay, yeah, go
This
ahead.
whole episode's about you.
Oh, yeah, you're right. God, I should really relax.
You're doing this with your sister, Allison Dore, who we should give a shout out to. She hosts the breakdown on
Hey,
Sirius XM.
shout out to Allison Dore. Hey, Al, shout out. Yeah, she hosts a show on Sirius XM Canada Talks, channel 167, The Breakdown, 3 to 5, Monday to Friday.
Long form interviews, not
Long
unlike
form
this one.
interviews. Yeah, she's the best. She is. I'm very happy for her. She has her record label, Howl and Roar. She
Yeah.
has her own comedy album label. She hosts this radio show, and then we're doing this podcast. She does all the editing for our podcast.
She seems like a total sweetheart too, just from the
She's the
episodes
best.
I've listened to.
Excuse me, she is the best. I apologize.
You
I'm
guys have
really loosening up here.
That's okay. That's what we want. You guys have this great relationship. At least it seems when I'm listening to the podcast. You really seem like two peas in a pod. But I can't imagine it's always been that way. So I was curious. What is the last tiff that you had together that you really, maybe stretched out a couple?
No,
days?
I'm not going to talk about
okay,
tiff.
all right.
No,
That's fair,
because
that's fair.
even if I did, what is the last tiff we had?
I didn't mean something super personal, but something you
We did. No,
disagree.
we fought. Actually, we did a podcast about it because we almost didn't record because we argued beforehand. I can't even remember what it was about. Oh, it was about, no, it's not. It's boring. It's too boring to get into. But yeah, we had an argument and then we did a podcast right afterwards and we talked about the argument on the podcast. But I can't see, I
don't know if that's one I've heard yet. So like I said, I'm on episode 7. Or maybe it's
you're going in order.
Yeah.
I should just tell you which ones to listen to because some are shite.
No, they've all been good. Episode 3 with Tim Bader, your friend, I gotta say, people need to check out this guy because what a character.
Yeah.
And Shitty Pants, you called him at one point? Is that actually his nickname?
No, that's not really his nickname.
Okay.
It's just, but he did shit his pants in a hotel room we were sharing. And he washed his underwear in the sink and hung them in the bathroom that we were sharing. And so...
That's like a planes, trains, and
But
automobiles.
he's just a dude, man. He's Philadelphia. He's just one of the boys. And that
prompted me to want to ask you if there was any other really colorful characters you've encountered in your life that you wish you had kept in touch with.
Sure. I keep in touch with everyone I've ever met.
Okay.
Which keeps me busy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Colorful characers, just like people that are
seeing
memorable to me.
Before I know it then, eh?
Well, Tim, there's no one. No, we're this is how we'll meet. Tim Bader, though, he is like, there's no one. I mean, I've never met anyone like this guy before. He is,
He's electric.
He is.
I'll say that.
He is. He is a different person. Yeah. He is. Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil it, but he's had quite the life, grew up with countless siblings.
Still has quite the life. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Hollywood guy, mover and a shaker with all these big people, right? Sounds like.
Yeah, but it's weird, man. It doesn't make, none of it makes sense. He's just.
What does he actually do?
It's a great question.
Yeah, he gambles. I know that.
Great question. Who knows? He's a mystery. He's interesting. He's the life of the party.
An enigma of a human. Okay.
He's wild. Yeah. You go to Los Angeles and you spend a few days with him. It's just, it's crazy.
Well, one thing I thought was really interesting is a couple of connections I found that related to myself with your life. Because you used to work at, where is it? Eddie May Murder Mystery Theater. Yeah. And when we were having our wedding last summer, we got married on our 10-year anniversary. And the officiant was a man named Jody Hawk, who, when I told him that I had you on the show prior, he said, I used to do Murder Mystery Theater with Jon.
Yeah, Jody Hawk. Yeah.
So you do know,
Jody and Trevor, I just wanted to verify they were in a comedy troupe called Crystal Basement Comedy. And Jody and Trevor, well, Jody did most. Yeah, Trevor did a few, I think. But Jody Hawk did a lot of Eddie May Murder Mystery.
Really sweet guy.
Oh, yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah.
And I was just curious if you had any memories from that job that really stood out.
Yes. What are you talking about? This is too general. Yeah.
Well, no, a pinnacle.
All I have are memories. That was the greatest time of my life. Living in Ottawa, working like occasionally, trying to figure out stand-up comedy, doing a little bit of improv, doing Eddie May Murder Mysteries, hosting daytime television on Rogers Cable, like barely scraping by doing all of that. But every moment of my day was filled. Eddie May Murder Mystery was the greatest.
That was in the market, right?
It was, above, at the time, the Marble Works.
Okay.
Restaurant. So big steakhouse, and upstairs was the performance area. Like at Christmas time, we'd have 30 shows in 28 days. And that's just that location. They had a traveling show as well that would go out and do Christmas parties. So, but you're hanging out with really creative, funny people. And I mean, super funny people. Everyone in that cast was the best. And you'd show up, you'd rehearse, you'd have a beer at Alfie's pub downstairs. Well, some of us would, others frowned upon it, but it was just fun, right? And then you'd eat dinner in this crazy dungeon of a basement, and then you'd go up for the final big moment of the show. It was the best. It was nothing but laughs. It was crazy.
Yeah, it sounds like a
Jason
blast.
Harper was a server at the Marble Works. So you're hanging out with all your friends. Jason's serving. We're doing the show. It's crazy. Who knows what to expect? There's a lot of Christmas parties. People that don't get it, they're being rude and they're drunk. And you're doing crowd control and theater at the same time. There's big blood bags coming out of your neck.
I was going to ask about costumes and props and stuff.
It's so campy and over the top and fun. We had shows like It's a Wonderful Knife, really dumb, but so fun. It was the best.
And great like training for comedy in general, I would imagine. Just those theatrics.
It's just pure fun.
Yeah.
It is, if you're lucky enough. Well, who knows? It was a very specific moment in time, and you'd have to try and capture it, and you never could. It's lightning in a bottle. It really was. So you had this perfect hybrid of guys who'd been around for a while and guys just starting out that had this beautiful sensibility. People were coming out to see campy stuff like that. the production, Noel Counsell, the guy who owns it and ran it, he cared. And one of the things he used to say is there's no such thing as too much blood. And it's true. He's
Sounds like a B movie or something.
He's just trying to convey to these people, actors, like, hey, we have a responsibility, go big, have fun with it. But Yeah.
Would patrons get fake blood on them? Or no?
That happened. Well, that happened once. There was a guy in a huge dude who was sitting front row with it was a knit white turtleneck, and it's around Christmas time.
Why was he in the front row?
Well, I mean, you don't expect it's going to go anywhere. No one's going to be happy if this blood gets on.
So there was not a disclaimer for audience members prior to the show or anything like that?
I'd imagine they either bought him a new thing or paid for his dry cleaning or however that happened. Yeah. But no, it was, so one of the death scenes, like if there was a knife, if there was a throat that was cut, the actor would come up the stairs in the center of the marble works and music would play and it would draw your attention to the center stage. And the way you would do a knife, a slit throat is he's holding the throat and there's blood leaking down. The actor's holding the throat, blood leaking down from the fake injury there. And he's got a water bottle, so a hot water bottle under his costume. And there's a tube running up from the hot water bottle that he's covering with his hand. And then he squeezes his arm against the water bottle and it shoots blood straight out of the neck. And people love it. Like some are horrified and grossed out. But the way he was holding it and the way he had pinched it against his neck, the tube, when it flew out, it ricocheted straight against this guy and it went all over his shirt. And which is the opposite of what you want, because now everyone's thinking about this guy and his dry cleaning and his night and the date he's on. And blah,
taking
blah.
them out of the moment of the theater, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. But so that would happen occasionally.
Did he actually start to yell or interrupt the show?
I remember him standing up and clearly disappointed. No.
Okay, so he didn't rage out or anything.
No, but he was definitely disappointed.
I can imagine.
But you meet all kinds in that world, like how people behave. It's a psychological experiment to see how people react and behave in those environments, because they can't rage out because they're also surrounded by 200 people.
Yeah.
And
their peers
he's
are
there
watching,
on a date, and a lot of times it's their coworkers, and so yeah.
Huh. Okay, well, I wanted to ask about your show's slogan. And
then ask about it. If you wanted to ask, I give you permission to ask.
Okay.
So if you want something, go ahead.
I won't preface it then. All right. So where did this come from?
Preface it if you want. That's the other thing. If you want to preface it, preface it.
Okay. Where did this come from?
What?
Waistbands are for pistols. Socks are for grenades.
Oh.
What is the origin? Because you guys say it at the end of every episode, but I don't think you ever have explained it.
At the end of every episode, we say waistbands are for pistols and socks are for grenades.
I was genuinely so curious.
I think we did bring it up on one of the podcasts, but so here's where it came from. My sister called me one day and she's like, "Can I just talk to you about something?" You know how she's dumb. She's like, "Can I just talk to you about the movie?" She was watching Air Force One with Harrison Ford, right?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
And she was mad that throughout this whole battle on the airplane, he's in the bowels of the airplane and he's getting sweaty. The whole time he's wearing his blazer. And she's like, "Wouldn't you just throw that away?"
Not easy to fight in, yeah.
Well, and my argument was, no, you're fighting a group of terrorists on an airplane. You're aware of it. So, you need a place to you need to house your weapons. So if you come across, you've got a pistol, you keep that in your pocket. Like you need a blazer with pockets to carry weapons. And I said, "What if you come across a grenade? You want to stuff that in your pocket?" And she says, "John, socks are for grenades."
Okay.
And I believe she's the one who said waistbands are for pistols. It's the dumbest thing on earth, but it's basically our relationship. We argue about the dumbest things for fun, and then these weird sayings come out of it. So I think that crystallizes our relationship. Having a conversation which is meaningless and pointless about a movie, and none of it matters. And at the end of it, she came out with a great
tagline, yeah.
Hey, waistbands are for pistols, okay? Your socks, those are for grenades. Let's be economical here. Go ahead and take your blazer off if you're in a fight with terrorists on an airplane, and don't worry about those pockets, because the socks, you put the grenade in your sock. That's our relationship.
I feel like it would be obvious it was in there, but, if he's Harrison Ford, he can do whatever the hell he wants. Okay, I'm gonna throw to my dad here because he usually has a couple questions for the guest, and I know.
Brian, do you have a question?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Brian, what did they call you in? Did you have a nickname in school?
No.
No. Okay. All right, Bri.
So I was just curious if you could tell me, beginning with the worst, what is the worst thing, and then what is the best thing
Oh boy.
about living in Alaska?
Okay, the best thing. What do you want me to start with? Sorry.
The worst.
Oh, the worst. I mean, it's Alaska. It's far. It's in the middle of nowhere, geographically removed. I can't give you one worst thing because there's so many bad things about it. It is geographically removed from the rest of civilization, especially JUNO. I should say JUNO, Alaska specifically. That's where I live. So JUNO, Alaska, nothing comes there. They're also it's a city where the attitude is good enough. I hate that about it. Where they know they've got you. There's nowhere else you can go. You got to fly in or you got to ferry in. There's no road out of JUNO. So you have to accept shitty customer service. And some of them take full advantage. And those are the creature comforts in life that I have become accustomed to. And I hate it because I can't lose my mind because I have nowhere else to go. Normally I'd yell at these people, Brian. So I hate that. Customer service sucks. But the best thing, it is beautiful. I also like the customer service. No, it's a beautiful place to go. Lots of hikes and trails. When I think of Alaska, I think of my son and my family. So that's where I met Christina. Yeah. So the best part is it's home to my family for the time being. So that's good. But I'd have to say there's privacy, which I enjoy. I like my privacy. So yeah, you have a lot of privacy in JUNO where we live out the road.
Okay.
What a long, dumb, boring answer. Look at No, I'm doing it again. Ryan?
No, I got another one.
No, let me just fix it.
All right,
So here we go. Best part about JUNO, worst part about JUNO, customer service. Best part, good hikes.
Nice and concise.
Woo!
We'll edit that in, yeah.
Woo! No, I leave it, I hope.
So my next question is, at what point in your career did you know in your bones that, yeah, I can make a living from this. I'm making enough now. I don't have to do anything else. I can just do this.
Well, I don't know if that is still going to be, I don't know if this is what I'm going to be able to do to make a living for the rest of my life. I do know that I have painted myself into a corner where I know how, I don't know how to do anything else. So I'm kind of stuck. However, it's also a weird feeling because I feel like I'm becoming obsolete in that I'm not on top of Instagram and social media, and I don't have my agents in LA anymore, and I'm committed to Canada, but I'm living in Alaska, and I'm mostly the primary caregiver because when Christina's working, I'm home, and I only get out on the road for a month at a time. So am I going to be doing this for the rest of my life, Brian? I don't know. I don't know if I know in my bones anymore if this is what I can do. So it's a tough question to ask, but you're asking me, when did I think that I knew I'd do this for the rest of my life, even though I may not? When I moved to Toronto, it was about 2003, late 2002, 2003. I moved to Toronto because I had been auditioning for a television show called Canadian Idol.
Oh, yes.
Where I was going to be the correspondent on that show. And I got a call. I was working at this time. I had left Rogers Community Cable. I was barely working at a restaurant, living back at home with my parents. And I thought, this is the end for me. Nothing's going to happen. I'm going to have to get in a car and drive it off the edge of a quarry. And just...
What age would you have been at this time?
I was 6. It was 2000. I was in my 20s.
Okay.
2000, mid-20s. And then I got a phone call saying, can you be in Toronto in a week? Because we want you to be the correspondent on Canadian Idol. Now, this was the first big thing that had ever happened. It's a big audition. It was a process. I had to travel to Toronto, and I had to go through several different auditions. It was a big thing. And so I moved to Toronto and never worked in a restaurant again. I traveled the country, being paid I mean, not like what other people on the show were paid, but I would have no choice to work anywhere else because you're traveling the country of Canada, staying in hotel rooms on the company's dime. And anyway, that let me pay for rent in Toronto. And yeah, ever since I've never looked back, Brian.
I mean,
Well, from what I saw the other night, I mean, you're still on your A game. So, I mean, I'm sure there's more in your future.
I've never felt more comfortable. Thank you for saying that, by the way. But I've never felt more comfortable telling jokes and being on stage. The problem is, how do you stay relevant? How do you? It's always a young person's game, right? Always, no matter what you're doing, especially media and entertainment, is geared towards. So, I'm not. How do I make myself relevant? So the only thing I know how to do is go on stage and tell jokes. So hopefully people see that, want to continue coming back.
well, I know I'm not the only person that's probably dying for you to broker some sort of a deal with Netflix to get the Jon Dore television show.
That's never going to happen.
That is I have to find scraps on YouTube.
Never going to happen. There's no deal being brokered. Netflix doesn't know who I am. They could give. They don't care.
Is there any plans to ever get those episodes available?
I don't own them.
Oh no, eh?
I co-own them with the production company.
Which is such a good show.
It's okay.
It's hilarious.
I'm happy releasing little moments here and there. And yeah, look, we've even tried to bring it back.
Oh, really?
It's not going to happen.
You talked about a movie the last time that I interviewed
Yeah.
you.
And these are aspirations that no, there's no money in Canada, which sucks. And there's very little risk taking unless you make it on your own.
Yeah.
Like the Letterkenny guy. Like if you make something and then it's already irresistible to view because you've already got a fan base, then a network will greenlight it. Or they're gonna just, whatever. Let Mark Critch have another show. That type of thing. And I love Mark Critch. Beautiful man.
Very funny.
And take whatever you can get.
Yeah.
But there's very little risk in Canada.
It's true. I've heard this from other artists. It seems to be a common through line we've heard from a lot of people.
And I'm lucky. I was fortunate. I was able to pitch a television show, and I got a television show made.
2 seasons.
I got to dip my hands in the. I got to enjoy a great. Yeah, but I also feel like now is where my ideas are really strong. But I'm an obsolete person, so it doesn't matter.
I think these are. I don't know if I agree with that, but
As a parent, I mean, John, you need to start taking a few night classes and pick up a secondary skill set.
When am I going to find the time? I would love to. Well, I would love to pick up another job. I would love to not do stand-up again. What do I do? What can I possibly do, Brian? Where would my skills be valuable? Do I try and convince the Ottawa Senators that I could help sell them tickets? I work in public relations. Do I do that?
They say the trades are good.
Brian, do I go to a local CBC television to see if I can be a weatherman?
Yeah, I think more carpentry,
A meteorologist?
Plumbing.
Which I'll never be. I'm not going back to school. Plumbing? Are you fucking crazy?
There's money in shit. There's money in shit.
it's true. They
Yeah,
make good
there's
cash.
money in it, no question. They're hiring them straight out of college now. No apprentices. Just go. Welders too.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Electricians, yeah.
I'm old. My back will break.
Yeah, the trades are where the money's at for sure.
Yeah, but I can't be look, 30 years ago, if I started down that road, I would, yeah, great. But I didn't. I took a risk.
Well, I'm still happy that I brought up your show. I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day as far as a widespread release, but
Triceratops.
it's not actually.
What is it?
Oh God, it's like Spicelipicus or something, eh? We had a paleontologist on the show a couple months back, and this is one of the animals he discovered.
That's not a Triceratops.
It's
1,
very
2,
close. It's a
3.
horned dinosaur. Yeah, it's very closely
There's
related.
3 horns. It's
Yeah.
got to be in the
But
tribe.
the frill is different, or
So
something.
the frill would change. Call this guy back. Get this guy on the fucking phone right now. The frill changes the try. I thought the try would be dominant. Look, there are 3. I mean, people who are listening to this podcast now are completely clueless. I'm holding up. Is this a real dinosaur fossil?
No, this is a 3D printed.
I
know.
Here, this is a dinosaur fossil I found. Just thought I'd give it to you.
Yeah.
Be nice.
We did get to go check out the museum's private collection in Elmer, which was very cool.
Aylmer.
Yeah, they have
Aylmer has a
bunch of stuff over there. Yeah, that doesn't fit in the nature museum, and he gave us a personal tour. Which
Well, you're
was,
talking about
thank you again.
the museum across the river, right?
No,
that
this
what
is
you're talking
like
about?
it's like a warehouse essentially.
Oh.
yeah, and you have to. Well, I mean, it's got a front of house sort of area, but it's storage.
it's most museums can only ever display a portion of their collection.
Yeah, they can only accommodate.
And they all have off-site buildings in which the researchers work, and they store the main collection.
Yeah, well, that's where Indiana Jones kept the Ark. Remember, they put it in that
Exactly.
crate.
It was very similar.
That was in
Very
a warehouse.
similar.
Yeah,
Very similar.
Yeah, because you can't display the Ark, eh? Because your face will fucking melt off. Pardon my language.
side
Oh,
effect.
that's all right. There's no
I've dropped a few
censorship here.
F-bombs today, but I got a little loose.
Yeah, that's okay.
Had
You're
a
a
couple
party
beers. Yeah. A little mushroom capsule before as well, which is
Did you
the
actually,
way-
huh?
Yeah, which is the way to go.
Microdosing,
That's what
yeah.
we've been. Yes, it's been months, and it's good.
It really
It's good for me.
If you
It's
feel
good
it,
for people.
they say if you feel it, you took too much for microdosing purposes.
Oh well, then it's not microdosing.
okay. It's mid dosing.
I don't know what it is. Who cares?
Yeah.
And who are they saying if you can feel it, you took too much? I agree with you, by the way. Anyway, I'm not going to get into this, but yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like if you're truly following the rules and you're using this, yeah,
I'm not against a good macro dose once in a while too. Don't get me wrong. But
I don't care. I'm good. Yeah, live your life.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Well, I've got a few other things, but at the same time, I know your eyes are probably bugging you. And
What do you got?
a lot of them are just things I picked up. Your mom works at the Heart Institute. I also work at the Heart Institute.
Did work
or
at
used
Heart
to
Institute.
rather.
Yeah, she's retired.
That's where I work as well. So
You work there now.
I do. I sterilize surgical equipment. So
You sterilize this. That's very important.
it is.
Yeah.
And
You should,
often
you should
I'm
talk
on
to,
the
you should
cardiac.
talk to your wife upstairs about wearing gloves in the kitchen.
She's an ICU nurse actually.
Oh God,
John, that would be a good secondary skill set.
what would it be? An ICU nurse?
No. Sterilizing equipment.
I'd rather be an
You can
ICU
pick that
nurse.
up.
I'd
It
rather
didn't
be
take
an
that long.
ICU.
Yeah, I did an Algonquin course online in like 9 months, and I was boom into it.
And then you're into it. And so
Pays
what do you do?
pretty well.
You go in and you drop them in a bucket of Barbasol, and then you're like Barbicide, whatever it is.
I don't work on the dirty side anymore because it was just
The dirty side.
yeah, the decontamination area is like where you're getting
dirty side of medicine.
carts coming down from a surgical unit just full of blood and shit.
Oh
And we've
my
talked about
God.
this before.
Oh
but
my God.
No, I'm on the clean
my
side.
God. Tell me those people are paid properly.
I think we make the same amount. Yeah, even if you're on the clean side, you're making the same hourly rate. Yeah.
Like you're getting like surgical leftovers.
I've had to just pour blood out.
Oh my God.
I have had the most jarring thing you get down from there is when you get the thing post amputation. It's called the amputation knife. It's about that long, and then there's a big thing they put the leg or arm on that looks like sort of like what you would, smoked meat. Anyway,
Smoked meat.
well, what you cut meat with,
Yeah, slicer, a deli slicer.
It doesn't have the slicer portion. It's just sort of a semi-moon thing that the limb would then sit in, and then they use just a knife. I thought it would be some sort of more intricate tool, but it's just called the amputation.
What are you
knife.
talking about though? So this comes to you?
Yeah,
Or you get
we
the equipment?
The thing that's just got the blood on, not the
Gotcha.
leg.
You got the equipment.
Get the leg.
No. I thought we were still talking about like where does the leg go?
That I don't know.
So, but that would never
An
go
incinerator or something, I would imagine.
Right. So that's a different department
Yeah,
than
that's
the other
not us.
department you started in, where you just get the blood.
Well, you get lots of things, but
You
yeah,
do.
you get all the soiled instruments of everything.
What happens to because the leg's got a bone and tissue and DNA. You
I would
have to be
imagine
incinerated.
Goes to
Otherwise,
pathology
people,
or something, maybe. I don't know.
otherwise people like you would probably drop them at a crime scene to try to incriminate a dead person already, right? Or someone who just had a leg amputated. That'd be your style. So that has to be incinerated because you can't leave that DNA lying
Just
around.
leave limbs lying
It's
around.
liable, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a crazy world. We should have talked about this the whole time. I got 1,000
I didn't know
questions.
you'd think it was so interesting. Yeah, and I'm not the guest here.
Cleaning surgical tools, of course.
Yeah.
And disposing of waste.
Well, again, I'm on the clean side now, so I'm putting surgical sets back together so that they can be used again.
So you put them back together.
Yeah, and very intricate placement, and you're basically running through a checklist, making sure you're not missing any instruments, and of course checking
Gotcha.
everything is clean because
Gotcha.
the washers aren't foolproof. You can they still go in an autoclave after.
Are some surgeons a little messier than others? Like, do you know them now? Like, oh, great.
No.
Look what Dr. Todd brought in again.
He's
So
always making
it's
a
a complete
splatter.
fucking
No.
mess. He always shatters the scalpel.
Nope.
Shatters the scalpel. I don't know if that's a thing. Wild. Okay, I didn't know that's what you're doing at the Heart Institute.
Well,
You're-
I work in the civic in general, but often they put me on cardiac because that's kind of my discipline. Where I'm the best there at cardiac. I don't know what to
You're
say.
the best at washing the
no,
instruments.
at putting them back together.
Oh, putting back
building
the
the
instruments.
sets and like I can
Wow.
build a pump pan in like 15
what
minutes.
pan?
It's called a pump pan. I don't know why they call it that, but it's a very intricate cardiac set that takes someone who's new to the job half an hour to an hour easy, and I'll do one in like 15 minutes.
Okay, but what are you doing? You're putting it back together after it's been washed?
Yeah, so it's coming out of the washer.
Yeah.
The instruments should be clean, but again, we're checking because sometimes you do find debris, bioburden that hasn't been someone on the other side didn't do their job.
What?
Bioburden is like
Burden?
Yeah. It's
Bioburden is reference.
I'm
what does
using the
that mean?
terms here. Just crap that shouldn't be on there. That's from
But burden. What does burden mean in reference?
burdening me, and that I
it's a
have to
burden-
send it back.
But is that why it's bioburden? It's left over. It's
I imagine.
Okay.
I don't
The
know.
instruments are carrying leftover tissue or whatever like
Yeah,
that.
right.
They should be clean. There's a burden of biological material on it.
So
that's
a
not
burden
common,
of
though.
biological material.
It's usually clean.
They
Usually,
call
but
that bioburden. That's
bioburden.
fun.
Yeah, fun word. Word of the day.
How's your day today? A lot of bioburden.
It's not
Yeah,
great when you
okay.
get that.
So you can put these things together in 15 minutes. This
take
this
the
pump
pump
pan. Yeah. So you can put a pump pan together. Is this on your bio?
No, it's not.
Should
not
be.
a lot of people would appreciate
Should
that.
be. Have you ever put a video? Have you ever uploaded a video of you putting together a pump pan together in 15 minutes? You
I don't
should.
know that we're supposed to share things from work like that on social media.
Trust me. Just do it.
I'm just gonna get fired.
Just do it. Do it. Who cares?
It's a good job though. I
You're
like
not
my
going to
job.
get fired. They need you. You put it together faster than anyone.
Like you, I'm the primary caregiver here. Generally, I work part time. I have
Right.
an ICU nurse for a wife, so she has full time hours. But whenever she's not working, I pick up shifts there. Yeah.
And is she at the Civic as well?
No, she's at the Queensway Carlton, just down the street. From me.
Okay, gotcha. So she's Queensway. You're okay. Wow, good.
Yeah.
This is great though. You're both working in healthcare,
Hospital family. Yeah. The pandemic was not fun in that respect.
You had to get tested constantly.
Yeah, and her in the ICU, we were just worried about her well being, especially at the point where we didn't know exactly what this virus was, and none of the research.
And then we found out it was a hoax.
My dad's a biologist, so do you want to weigh in on that or no?
Well, I hope you know I'm joking.
No, of course, yeah.
Yeah. Well, here we are.
Well,
what else
yeah.
you got on the list?
I got that you were nauseated by steel guitar, slide guitar. Just a few things I took away from the podcast.
That's
Is that
totally true. Yeah,
It's totally true. I'm not a huge fan of it.
growing up. Now I'm okay. It has a place. But yeah, growing up, my dad and mom, they love country music, and so we'd listen to George Jones or Ed Bruce on repeat in the car. And so we'd be sitting in the back seat of the station wagon driving from Ottawa to Orillia, Ontario, and just staring out the window and hearing the saddest steel guitar. And yeah, it used to make me feel sick.
Just irked you.
Well, yeah, long car drive.
Interesting. I feel like there's other people that would say that steel guitar is kind of like a peaceful, kind
I was
of
a
soothing.
kid. I was a kid. No, I was a kid. It sounded sad and depressing.
Yeah, there's a bluesiness that runs through country a lot of the time.
It was the soundtrack. It was the soundtrack to
Shitty car
my
ride.
shitty car ride as a kid. It was not good.
So it's more of an association with just negative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were a peer counselor.
I was.
Suicide prevention.
No, not suicide prevention.
Deterrent?
Specifically, no.
Suicide, not
I was.
encouragement.
I was
Hopefully
just-
not.
Brian chiming in with some bombs, huh? I love it.
A little heckle there, yeah.
No, I was a peer counselor. Period.
Okay.
As part of the training you have to go through, which is minimal, one of the courses we took one evening was suicide prevention. So warning signs, things to look out for. Essentially, at the end of the day, you notice anything, you discreetly communicate with a professional. That's all you really do.
There's a red flag kind of coming up.
Correct.
Okay. So during that period, what would you say was the best advice you gave? And what's the best advice you've gotten?
I barely saw it. Oh, sorry. The best advice I got from
It doesn't even have to be related to this job necessarily, but what do you think's the best advice you've ever imparted
in life.
in life? If you want to go that
we're
broad.
talking about peer counseling, but now it doesn't matter.
I'm just giving you wiggle room.
Strangely, the best advice is I don't know if this is the best, but don't give any advice at all. I mean, it's just ask questions, and that's 101.
Yeah.
That's the social worker playbook is get
Just
them
listen,
to
yeah.
talk. Yeah, but yeah, no, I think advice is bad, especially in a creative.
As a father, you're gonna have to give some at certain points, though, right?
Sure, I don't know, but wouldn't I just say, what do you think you should do? And in my experience, this is what I did, but you should do what you want. And I don't know. I think conversation is probably better. And I truly mean that because people in interviews will say, in stand-up comedy, what advice do you give young comedians? And the answer truly is nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, other than don't take advice, because you wouldn't want to cloud anyone's, creative process. You wouldn't want to stunt anyone's creative thinking. So, and anything could do that. Like, people are like, you should do this or you should do this. And this is not what once you start doing that to a young creative mind, then who knows?
They might not become who they were meant to be, their own individual.
Well, you would, like let them be who they want. And everyone's going to figure it out. And that's the fun part about stand-up comedy is you're going to figure it out eventually. If you pursue it and you're good at it, you will figure out what's the right thing to do. So who the fuck am I? I'm just a dummy.
Hey, yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to stand up. I get out there as often as I can. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Which isn't that often, but lately I've been kind of reviving it.
Well, dude, I don't know how you get out at all. Pardon my yawning. You have 3 kids.
Yeah.
You
do this show.
You do this show. You're part-time cleaning instruments. Assembling pump hands.
And
albeit
other things.
Quickly.
Other things too, though.
Yeah, and I don't know how. Yeah, you're very busy.
Well, I appreciate that because sometimes I do sort of chastise myself about, you got to get out there more. But I'll write a funny song eventually, and then it just gets under my skin. I got to share this with people.
Yeah.
I've been doing some prop comedy the last couple times and switching it up. So, yeah.
What kind of prop comedy? I'm curious.
I did this whole thing. Did we talk about this last episode? I don't know. I'll do it really briefly just in case we did. But I started talking about how mullets are coming back and I hope that the rat tail never comes back.
Right.
And then proceed to talk about my brother's rat tail that he had when we were younger, that when he finally cut it was 6 inches long and my mom braided it and framed it. I then proceed to show the audience that item in question. And then I started talking about, well, what if Hollywood did adopt the rat tail? I wanted to see what some Hollywood celebrities would look like with rat tails, so I turned to AI. But instead, I was AI still has a long way to go because instead I was given all these images of rat-human hybrid versions of them.
Oh, that's funny.
And then I printed them all out at Staples, so I've got like Rattly Portman and Ratrick Stewart and Dwayne the Rat Johnson.
Names
and,
okay.
well, it's more the visual that seems
yeah.
to strike people. And
Yeah. But that's fun. That's great.
it was fun. Yeah, I try to think with weird shit like that people aren't going to expect,
That's funny. Yeah,
Musically, I try to come up with a new song as often as I can, Well, you're a little bit of a musician yourself.
I can clean.
Before the podcast, we saw you rocking out on the bass. You're playing some
I
Tragically
was not
Hip.
rocking out.
You played that very well, I won't say.
Well, thanks so much. Well, I try and play guitar at home, but I can't because Jackson just comes and takes it away from me. He goes, nope. And he puts it in the corner. So I'm like, okay. So yeah.
Did you ever incorporate music into your comedy?
I've brought guitars on stage. Yeah. To do stuff.
Late night or early morning?
Who knows? They merge, don't they?
I guess.
I used to do some dumb stuff like that, but it was usually not using the guitar, but sorry. Yeah.
Well, I've always thought that would be funny to just have the guitar on stage and just never use it and then walk off and take it away. I'm sure it's been done.
It is a little funny.
You've done that?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But no, I would like pretend I wrote a song about my nephew and having to babysit him, but I'm really not. I'm just yelling at him while holding the guitar, trying to play it. So, dumb stuff like that.
Cool. Well, then we'll do the final question, which is the season 5 question we've been asking all guests this season.
Oh my God.
Which is if you could go back in time and relive a memory in full, all your senses. You can't change history, I will say that, but just relive,
Why can't I
re-experience.
change history?
Because then it gets complicated as to what you would pick. I just want to know a memory that's really sort of, bold in your mind as what a great thing. I would love to re-experience that. And we're not talking childbirth or marriage or anything,
Okay, so
give me something
There's
specific.
a lot of. Okay, I didn't know there were so many limits to the question.
I know. We're gonna have to get a better question.
So
next
I
season.
would go back in time and relive a memory as if I'd never lived it before. I'm going to experience it again for the first time because it's that great.
Yeah. You can. Yeah. You just can't do things differently and alter the course of your life.
Yeah, I'm just going to go back, live in the head I did live in, and then somehow transport back into this moment. But what moment was just so great I'd want to live it again?
You got it.
Let me think here.
Yeah, of course.
Give me a moment. Let me hold. Yeah, you know what? Let me think here. Hold on. Okay. Shh, Brian, quiet. No, Oliver, hold on. I almost got it. This is complicated, so let me really think here. Yeah. No. Hold on. How about... Yeah. No. No, Brian, Oliver, please give me a moment here. This is big. Hold on. Yeah, okay. No, hold on. No, hold on, Oliver. You really got to be patient with me here, or I'm going to lose it because this is big. So yeah, go back in time. Yeah. But can't change. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. You know what though? Honestly, I would. No. Let me think. Well, there would be. Yeah. Okay. I'd have to go back to. No, but I don't have to. Do I? Oh my God. I would say, yeah, but that's too personal. I think maybe, oh, you know what? Can I get back to you?
Time for a double slurp.
Can I get back to you? Can I think about it and
course.
get back to you?
You're always welcome back here, John.
If you, I mean, let me really think about this because this is important.
It's season 5
So
question.
let me get back to you. Like, let me think about it, and I will. Yeah, I'll send you a message about my answer.
I'll do a screenshot and I'll throw it up at the end of the episode.
Yeah, because I'm just. Oh no, though. But to be honest, yeah. You know what? No, actually, no. No, yeah. I'll have to get back to you.
Okay. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's this episode. Thank you so much for coming, John. It really does mean the world to me.
Thanks
Talking about
me.
your show, I remember watching this vividly and it just having such an impact on me. And when we did the Zoom interview, I felt immediately afterwards like, oh, he doesn't like me. I was too nervous. I was an
What are you talking
idiot.
about?
I said stupid. That's how much I care about your
Brian.
Approval and being an acquaintance.
Approval. Don't care about anyone's approval. Oh no! Thanks for having me. This
Yeah,
was fun.
man, you're an idol to
it's
me.
so great to. It's so great to just because we're just Fisher Meadowlands, huh? That's where we live. So it's just a quick.
Oh, wow.
It's just a quick shot up baseline.
Yeah.
Regional Road 16.
There you go.
Brian,
Is that what it used to be called?
I think they still refer to it as that. Is it Regional Road?
What baseline you mean?
Baseline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian, thanks for being here as well. Okay, you're a part of this.
The unsung hero.
You're a delight.
That's a nice thing to say.
Welcome back anytime, of course, especially since you're so close if you're in town. Everyone should check out the podcast. It is a love letter to Ottawa, I will say.
There's lots of Ottawa chat on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ottawa, especially we recorded 2 yesterday, and they're ridiculous.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah,
I'm looking
that'll be
forward to
fun.
it. You also mentioned going on tour. I want to tell people next fall, catch him with the great Dave Merhej, who's
Yes.
also a friend of this show.
That I totally forgot. Yeah. Tickets for September through October. Dave and I are going on the road for we're going to be on the road together for a while.
Across Canada kind of thing? Or
Yeah, I mean we're starting west and we're moving as far as Halifax. So,
But
yeah.
not into the U.S., right? Or
No. God, no. This is just Canada. It's gonna be great.
I was just curious. I mean, for any U.S. listeners.
No, not on that tour anyway. But that's a big one. Starting in Sydney and BC, Victoria, basically.
Okay.
Mary Winspear Theater, and then we finish in Halifax. So yeah, it's gonna be a great one. Yeah.
Yeah, you still got a few months. Get your tickets, people.
Yep.
Check out his album on Spotify. Thanks again so much. We high five at the end. Boom. Bye, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.